Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
Detroit police here on the scene as protesters make their way back to the TCF Center here in downtown Detroit. We have a live report for you coming up new tonight.
When it comes to COVID, the news is not good. The numbers are going up. Take a look outside. The weather is beautiful. What doctors are saying you need to know about staying safe and trying to tamp down these COVID numbers.
All right, Paula, but we'll begin with the race to 270 electoral votes. Right now, Joe Biden remains 6 votes shy of hitting that magic number. President Trump right now sitting at 214.
But we are still awaiting results from Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina, Alaska, and Nevada, where it could still take a few more days.
Big news as we come to you at 5 o'clock. We saw this morning Joe Biden took over the lead in Pennsylvania, but the count is still far from over.
And with that narrow lead, Biden now has a wider electoral path to victory. But as that happens, President Trump and Republicans say the voting process was fraudulent, but have offered no evidence to prove it. Alice Barr is following all of these new developments from the White House.
Good evening. This day has had a sense of inevitability, both about how the race might end and about the legal challenges that would continue.
With the last battleground ballots being counted and the electoral map coming into focus, Joe Biden pulled ahead of President Trump early today in Pennsylvania as the mail-in ballots Democrats preferred in this pandemic tilted heavily toward Biden. It was the same story overnight in Georgia, where Biden edged past the president with a razor-thin lead.
With a margin that small, there will be a recount in Georgia.
Biden had a second potential path to victory leading through Nevada and Arizona, where the margins were also tight. In flagged tweets and unfounded comments from the White House, President Trump claimed fraud without offering any evidence and vowed to continue his fight in the courts.
We were winning in all the key locations by a lot, actually. And then our numbers started miraculously getting whittled away.
While some allies still stand by the president, others, including Pennsylvania's Republican senator, pushing back.
The president's allegations of large-scale fraud and theft of the election are just not substantiated. I'm not aware of any significant wrongdoing here.
Democrats in the Keystone State putting it more bluntly.
The president can sue a ham sandwich. Every one of these ballots that's in play right now that's going to be counted today throughout the rest of the day has been lawfully received.
Despite the prospect of a protracted legal fight, the Biden campaign spent this day setting the stage, literally and figuratively, for a victory they saw as all but certain.
Whatever the final count may be, we already know that Joe Biden has gotten the most votes in the overall popular tally of any presidential candidate in U.S. history, and President Trump is number 2. From the White House, Alice Barr, Local 4.
All right, Alice, now for hours today, we watched a steady stream of protesters in front of the TCF Center downtown rallying in support of President Trump.
Now they're demanding a full review of Michigan's election results. Hank Winchester spent the day there and joins us now live. Hank, I know it was a little bit quiet about an hour ago. What's the situation now?
Yeah, you know, it changes kind of minute by minute, Karen. Now we have another group, those representing the Black Lives Movement, that have made their way out here behind me. You can see Black Lives Matter. You can see that there's about 15, 20 that are out here at the corner of Washington and Larned. Detroit police here remain on the scene. Earlier today, what we saw were protesters representing supporters of President Trump and VP Pence, upset, they say, with how things played out inside the TCF Center when ballots were being counted. They were loud, they showed up in big numbers, and for the most part, they were peaceful. Protesters, supporters of President Trump, taking over the streets near the TCF Center in downtown Detroit.
I just wanted to find out what was going on with the vote and what the process was. There are quite a few ballots that are in question, and I'm just here in support of the president and democracy in general as a whole.
Counter-protesters showed up. Things got tense, police watching from the ground, from the air, and also on horseback.
That's one of the beautiful things about the United States of America. Everybody has a right to protest, right? But at the same time, when you protest, we're doing it peacefully.
The crowd of about 250 breaking up late in the afternoon. Detroit's police chief says his team was ready for anything.
We are very effectively keeping counter-protesters in a separate place. We don't want any conflict at all today, and so we support any group's right to free speech.
Back out here live, and you can see Detroit police mounted there on top of the TCF Center. They are on the ground. There are cameras everywhere. They are watching this situation as it unfolds. Again, those out here right now, they are representing Black Lives Matter. Throughout the day, they've been working to make their way down to the TCF Center, and Detroit police have been pushing them back. Once those supporters of President Trump moved on, then they allowed them to come here. Essentially, they were working to avoid any clashes, which they did effectively all day long. We're live here tonight at the TCF Center in downtown Detroit. Hank Winchester, back to you.
All right, thank you, Hank. Well, tonight the chair of the Republican National Committee is calling for an investigation into what went on election night inside the TCF Center and at county locations statewide.
Michigan native Ronna McDaniel made that announcement at a news conference today, and our Rod Maloney was there. Rod, talk a little bit about what her concerns are.
Well, much like the president, she believes that there is considerable fraud in the process, and she wants the time to be able to prove that. She's looking for investigations, and she's very frustrated.
Today, we announced that the RNC has deployed legal teams in 4 states, including Michigan, to investigate clear irregularities with vote counting and tabulation in those states.
The concern? This scene at the TCF Center Wednesday, loud and distressing confrontations, Republican poll watchers claiming they were tossed from the building, not allowed to watch the count properly.
Republican poll watchers were denied their legal right to monitor the election and purposely kept in the dark, both literally and figuratively, with poll workers blocking windows and padlocking doors.
More specifically, she called out senior Detroit election supervisor Chris Thomas for telling poll watchers to backdate ballots. This afternoon, Thomas put out his own statement saying, quote, "The accusations are wrong and reveal the person making them doesn't know Michigan's election process. The scenario described actually shows a process designed to eliminate errors, working to do just that. In the state of Michigan, voters are not disenfranchised by clerical errors," end quote. But Romney had a number of other concerns with voting software problems and flip vote counts in Rochester that has her demanding the massive changes like this across the state.
Michigan needs election reform. And it is time for Democrats to join us, because we will never have a sureness in our elections if we do not fix what's happening in the city of Detroit.
Now, late this afternoon, I had asked the governor's office if she had a statement about this, and this is what she said, quote, "Michigan's elections were conducted fairly and transparently, and the results are an accurate reflection of the will of Michigan voters. We must come together in support of our democracy and against misinformation." Back to you.
Rod, recounts would be kind of unusual in a state where the margin is what it is in Michigan, as wide as it is. What did she have to say about that?
Right. Well, you know, I asked specifically, will you have a recount? And she did not say yes to that, but she certainly wants to leave that door open. But she has to have the legal predicate to do so. So as it stands right now, she wants everybody to be patient so they can look into the allegations. She says there were at least 100 that came out of the TCF Center alone that need to be investigated fully.
Yeah. All right. Rod Maloney for us live. All right, Rod. Now, normally we would have the daily coronavirus numbers by now, but the state says they are delayed. We will get those to you just as soon as they come in. But with infection rates spiking across Metro Detroit, across the state, school districts are making the call to pull the plug on in-person learning and go remote again.
You can hear all those parents gasping tonight, right, Devin? Well, today Bloomfield Hills and West Bloomfield schools made the call to go remote. Also today, Grosse Pointe and Berkeley schools made that switch. University of Michigan said undergrads aren't going to return to campus for the winter semester. We'll have much more on that ahead of 5:30.
Now, with schools going remote and cases rising exponentially, local hospitals are starting to see what the experts have been warning us about.
They are starting to fill up with COVID patients, and Paula Tutman reached out to a local hospital system. And Paula, what are they telling you about this?
You know, they're very, very concerned. And you can even look right here and see part of why. The weather's absolutely gorgeous. This weekend's of this. They're going to want to see friends. They're going to want to visit parents. They're going to want to drop their guard. And that is deeply, deeply concerning to healthcare workers. On a beautiful, sunny, warm Friday, Michiganders are fatigued. COVID fatigued.
I think a lot of people have kind of joked that, like, America got tired of the pandemic. But I mean, with cases rising and deaths increasing, I think it's important that we keep up with it.
I think people have grown less cautious, to put it politely, over the last few months.
And I think that's our problem now. It has to happen to us for us to think that it's real.
As of 11 this morning, Henry Ford Health System had 226 patients hospitalized with COVID-19 across 6 hospitals. On Monday, that number was 177. Right now, the hospital system is running nearly a 14% positivity rate in testing.
Though we have seen an increased number of patients coming into the hospitals, it is not the same numbers that we have seen a few months ago. Many of them are still requiring being in intensive care units. So about 18 to 20% of patients who are coming into the hospital are being in the intensive care units. But the percentage of people who are going on ventilators, who are placed on artificial respiration, is much less than we have seen before. And part of this is because we've learned much more about the disease over the past few months and how to manage it differently.
The Beaumont Health System is seeing a rise as well.
Community spread is above 10% in a lot of counties in Michigan, and certainly above 5% in most of the counties in Michigan. Which means that there's a fair amount out there, the positivity rate. There's a fair amount of COVID out there, and you're most contagious 2 days before you have symptoms.
And these aren't just numbers, these are people.
I'm still watching people die from this. I'm still watching people get intubated from this, get sicker despite doing everything we're doing. And I'm watching people be devastated by this.
We may be awfully exhausted by this, but the coronavirus is wide awake and very, very active. Healthcare professionals are just asking people to, again, don't drop your guard. Wear that mask for other people, not yourself, for other people. And let's try to get this under control before it is completely out of control, guys.
All right, some good advice there. Thank you, Paula. And much more to come on a Friday. Let's send it over to Ben.
Karen and Devin, it's been a beautiful one. Temperatures have managed to make the 70s, and you can see even warmer air out here to the southwest. The question is not if, but how many records are we going to break this weekend? We'll answer that coming up.
All right, great, Ben. Also coming up, with cases of COVID rising at again an alarming rate, where do we stand with progress on a vaccine? We'll look at how Michigan is set to play a key role on that front. Sean.
Next at 5 o'clock, the Local 4 defenders with some shocking security camera audio of a gun battle between Detroit police and a man they were searching for. That man was in the midst of a mental health crisis. How police and police experts say all of this could have been avoided.